Hey there, so as promised, I was going to do a walkthrough of the, well, we're going to call it the 2027 planner, but this one is undated, so it can be used at any time, but it will be launching in time for you to use it for 2027. So I thought I'd do a quick walkthrough for those that are still curious about the changes in our layout and all of that. So obviously there has been a change to the box in terms of the look on the front, but the size is still the same, where it will fit your bobbins in if you want to use it as a kit kind of box or a project box instead of a project bag. I have stuff all over my desk. Okay, so inside the box you will be getting one of these 4 randomly selected pens. So in the boxes will be one of these 4 pens. They're all black ink. It's just the sparkly outside that is different. So we chose these 4 colors this year. I will have some extras, so if you get a color you wanted a different color, then just reach out to me. And then you will get a 6-pack of these highlighters. So I went with these 6 colors. I believe it's close to these colors, hard from the picture, but I think it was these 6 colors will be included in the box as well this year. So you'll have some highlighters, and then you will have this really neat looking paper clip pen holder. So it will just clip onto, I'm doing this with my left hand, so my apologies. It will clip onto your book, and then you can fit a pen in there. So this is on top of the loop that's already on the planner itself. So let's get into the goodies of the actual planner. I have another pen stuck in here. They sent me all the colors to pick from. So the cover is the same as the box this year. So we had a design made specifically for the planner. So we stuck with our coil binding. I know I had mentioned some possibilities of a happy planner style. There will potentially be a build your own version in time to come, but it will not be for the beginning of 2027. I'm just going to move the box out of my way here. So right now they are all going to be coil bound, but I am looking into an option for a build your own, where you would purchase the insides and the covers and the tabs and use your own disc bound happy planner style or regular binders. So essentially what I'm envisioning for that is that we are going to keep my hands out of the screen. We're going to have it so that it is, you get the bundle of the papers of all the insides with no holes whatsoever. So this way, if you want to use a 3-ring binder, you can use your normal hole punch. If you want to grab the happy planner, I call it a happy planner, but the disc bound punch, you can buy that. I know up here you can get it at Staples and other stationery stores. Or if you want to print it, put it into something that's like instead of a 3-ring, if it's a 6-ring binder and you have the punch for it, or whatever way you want to do it from there, you will have the option in the build your own. Like I said, that's something I am working on. It will not be for the beginning of 2027. I would like to get people into this layout first, just in case there's any tweaks or changes before I start mass producing more things. So we're sticking with our coil bound this year. The book itself is significantly thinner than last year's because there is less tabs inside. So if you notice last year's, this side was quite thick. This side is about the same because it is similar in terms of the pages and the content, but there's less tabs. So this side is not so bulky. So overall, as much as the book is the exact same size as last year's, it is thinner, giving you a little bit less of a bulk on this side if you're traveling with it or carrying it places. We still obviously have our corners to protect it. We still have our tab at the back as well as the paperclip module one. And then we have our stickers. So some of the pages are the same as last year's. So these 2 pages are the same. I do still have many of the stickers. If you need more for any of your planners, I have lots of last year's and the year before's left. I have added 2 new pages into this year. So we have this page that has just all of our bobbins, some blanks to write with, and some cute little Stitchy collective stuff for our Stitchy members. Of those that are not, you still get the stickers, and maybe, you know, if you join us in the future, you'll have those in the beginning. You will notice on my sample, these have little red boxes. They will not have that in the print. That was a mistake. And then there's this page that just has some because the book is undated, this gives you the ability to put in the Monday through Sundays in whatever way you like. So if you're a Monday start or a Sunday start, that's up to you on how you set up your weeks. And then just a set of months for you. Some of our little characters. So those are me and the mods, me and the kitties, and then the one from the cover is in there too. So the book itself, we have our front one, which is where the stickers live. Mine are just not in there because I've been opening and closing this planner quite a bit lately, but my stickers live in here. So there's a tab there. Your front page is the same. I did add date this adventure because it is not a dated planner. You can choose if you're starting, say you're a teacher and you'd like to start with the school year, you can start with the school year, or if you're starting right at the beginning of 2027, you can put your dates in there. This is just the regular explainer that we have every year. Our first tab is our goals and plans tab. So this is the tab you'll go into just to set what you want to do for the year, the month, the different thing. You'll see as soon as I get in here but what I mean by different things. So this is just where you can put in goals just to get you motivated and inspired to achieve said goals. The goal isn't, in my world, the goal is ideally to achieve the goal, but even if you don't get all the way there, at least you're working towards it. Anything is progress, small or big. So to me, it is a win if you put a goal down and you've made some progress toward that goal. Doesn't mean you can't set that goal again and keep trying. It just shows that you're working towards it, which is still a win in my book. So each tab you will have your pocket as normal. We're starting out with just some habit trackers. You could choose the habit you want. There are 30 little circles for you to color in as you achieve, or you can write down the days you achieved them. So if you put your goal is to stitch every day and you color in a bubble every day you stitch, and then you give yourself a reward if you fill in all the bubbles. You can give yourself a reward like, I don't know, go to the craft store and buy said item, or have a piece of cake or whatever different version. Like, so if this is something, you know what I mean, I want to go for a walk every day and or do 10,000 steps every day, and at the end I will treat myself with an ice cream from Dairy Queen, or whatever way you want to set these up. These are just here. There is a number of them so that you can do, there's actually 3, 6, 9, 12 of them. So you could do one a month if you like for the year, or you can just use them as you see fit. And then we have a goal tracker for, this one is for your stitchy spot and organization. So this is literally just going to allow you to put the goal you want to achieve. I put the due date because, like I said, it's not to say that there's a date to the goal, but ideally you want to try to get it by some point. So if you put like August, I want to have this done, and then just a check mark if you achieve it or not. So you can track things like, you want to clean up your floss, or you want to write down all of your inventory into the stash section. You want to plan out some of your fabric, put things in project bags, kit things, anything you'd like to do in terms of organizing either your stitching or your craft room in general. It doesn't always have to be cross stitch. I did try to make some of this layout a little bit open, we'll call it, so that if you do other crafts too, you can continue to use all of the pages for all of the things. So that's the first little goal, little tracker. We're going to continue on that theme. This is the Get Crafty one. So this is learning new skills. So you can, if you're scrolling through our Facebook group and you see something, you're like, ooh, I'd really want to try to do that biscornu. Or Amanda mentioned we're going to do a training in August about making a pin cushion or something, and then you can put the goal of what you want to do. You can make notes if I've mentioned that we're going to do a tutorial for it. You can put that in there as well. If there's a certain link or something you want to reference, you can put all that. There's lots of space here for it. Same thing with a due date and achieve. This one is actually a tracker for analog time, for getting offline. So I know I try once a week, ideally once a day if I can. I will go for a walk. I will not touch my phone. I will not touch anything. And I will just live in life without something electronic in front of me. I will cross stitch at least once a week with nothing. I won't have books on. I won't have TVs on. I won't have anything. It's just kind of being in the moment and getting offline. So this is a fun way you can say, say an analog thing to do, when you're going to do it, and if you achieved it, or you can try to make it. You can be like, I would like to cross stitch for an hour without anything on, and then you can put, or see how long I can do something, and you can put achieved as in like, I did it for an hour, I did it for 2 hours, something like that. So it's just a fun way to kind of focus on getting back to those old analog things and staying away from online. As much as I love having all of you online with me in our Stitchy group or our free challenge group, all of those groups are great places to be, and I try to keep them as happy as I can. It is still great to, get out in nature, go enjoy the sunshine, different things like that. So that's what that's for. This one is just a tracker for saving. So there's 3 spaces for things you want, and then you can put the date, how much you're saving, and what you need, the total amount being at the top. So it kind of gives you, if there's those bigger things you want to purchase, you can put little trackers here for that. This is a Happy Mail tracker. I know I need this because I never remember what's coming in, but you can have the date, the company, what you're expecting, and your tracking number, and then track that you've received it. So I know, especially if I do a lot of minder days, and then I have grab bags, and then I have advent boxes and mystery minders, and there's all these different things, even just for me, this will keep track of where all those things are for you. So you can put, as soon as you buy it, you would put the date, the company, and what it is, and then you can follow up to make sure you grab your tracking, and you can follow up to make sure you receive the item. And then the last one is gifting things. So I know a lot of people will give out birthday gifts and Christmas gifts, and you want to track those. So this will have the date, who it's going to, what the idea is, and then if you have it ready, if it's mailed, and if it's been received by the person. Obviously these, if you're handing them to the person, you don't have to track as much with the mailing. But I know in our Stitchy Collective, there are some things to come in 2027 where this will be helpful, because we're going to try to start some Happy Mail, snail mail sort of fun too. So that is tab number 1. If you are a Stitchy, you will have the PDFs of all of these in the Stitch Hub as well. So if you want to print more to keep track of different things beyond what's in here, or if you need another page of things, you can grab those in the Stitch Hub. Our next one is the monthly plans. So this will be ones for every month. They are blank. So if you have a month in a year, so like I know I keep using teachers as examples, but they're good examples. Usually June is, or May and June are really crazy months for teachers because it's the end of the year. They have lots to do. You may not do anything in May, we'll say. You don't have to waste the pages and turn away May and go, oh, I just wasted 4 pages. You just move on to, say, June, or move on to July. Or if you're somebody who doesn't cross stitch in the summer because it's the only nice weather you get, like up in Canada, you may skip tracking in June and July. You may only track through the months that you actually cross stitch. So again, always has a tab. There's always going to be a front page. This is just for doodles. It is kind of like a graph. So you could design patterns on it. You can make changes to patterns. You can just make notes in it. You can doodle in it, make easy like charts and things to track more things. The page is very versatile in that sense. So we have our month page. So this is where those stickers can come in. So you would put January, and then your Monday through Sunday, or your Sunday through Saturday, which way you choose, and then just add your numbers. Use your calendar as you see fit. There is a spot for important dates and events. So I know like our Stitchies get releases once a week, so they can like make note of Mondays. I'm expecting to see this, this, this. We do have a printed checklist, but if you like to write it into here, you can. And then you can set your goals for the month. So how much you want to cross stitch, what you're going to focus on. A reward project to me is if you've achieved said goal, you can work on this one after. That's kind of like a goodie prize for completing the goal in my mind. Your average stitches per day and the how did I do this month, this you fill in at the end of the month. So once you know how many stitches you actually completed, divide by 30, 31, 28, depending on the month. And that's where you're going to get your average day and how you feel you did that month. You have your monthly WIP report card where you are going to put in the WIPs you plan to work on. Not all of your WIPs. You could put them all if you like, if you're going to work on them all, but you would just put down the ones you plan on working on, what your goal is, and then how much stitches, like how many stitches you actually did. If you don't track stitches and you just want to track, I worked on it every day, you can put my goal once a day, or I'd like to finish 1 page if it's a big project. Whichever way you want to switch this. Doesn't necessarily say you have to count your stitches, but you can say you can use this in that sense. And then the reward WIP, like I said, that's once you complete your goals from up here. I've left lots of space because some people will, or some months, even myself, will work on a lot of really tiny things. So you may end up doing 10 things in a month, or I may do a little bit on a bunch of projects. Like for my stained project, there's 8 pieces on the same thing, but I consider them 8 separate things just because I'm tracking each one's progress individually. So I would write, if I wanted to work on all 8 through a month, I'd work on them all. Your reward one is just, you would put what I want to work on. If I finish everything, I'd really like to start this one or work on this one project, or pull out your oldest, or pick something fun to have as a reward, with no goal, just what you started, what you ended with. That's just bonus finishing. This you would color in an X for every time you work on a whip. You can change this if you like. You don't have to follow the text. You can color in every time you cross stitch in a month. You can color in every time you hit 10K steps in a month. You can really use this whatever way you like. You'll put the thing you want to focus on, something you want to learn, and then just a spot for notes. So these 2 pages and then these 2 pages will repeat every month for 12 months. So there's room for 12 in here. You have your to-dos for the month. So just the things you want to do, due dates, appointments, kids' soccer games, all those things can be put up here. Same thing with the X's for the finishes you get in a month. And then you're going to just reflect on things you did really great this month and the things you have learned, and then another big note section for you. And then another doodle kind of page to leave free for if you want to do any dot journaling, you want to, create any other little bullet trackers, anything like that. There's a page there. And then, as I said, it will repeat for 12 months. So you have 12 months worth, so you can use this for one entire year, and then purchase another one for 2028, and so forth and so forth. And then we'll move on to the day at a time. So these ones are the ones that I find sometimes, if life gets busy, you don't end up using up pages in a planner, and that's when you start flipping a lot more. So a month, usually at least once through the month, you'll fill things in. You can put goals, you can do all that stuff. These are very easy pages to use each month, but every day, sometimes a week will go by, I won't touch my planner. Just because either I'm away or I'm just super busy with other things. And so these pages are, again, going to be a little more usable in terms of week over week, so day over day. So you have a blank page, you have your tab, or your pocket, sorry. You have tracking your stitching for the year. So you would just put the months along the top. Again, I've left it blank, so if you don't buy this in January, it doesn't say it starts in January. You would just start it. So say if you bought it in February, you would start in February or go for. And you can track for one full year. These are just color it in every day you cross stitch. We've had this in the past. And then what's different with here is the weeks have been condensed down to half a page instead of a full page. And then you will fill in the week. So if you have a week where you're super busy, you don't have to waste the space. You just move on to the next week. So you would put your focus for the week, what your goal is. Your numbers go in here, like just your week's numbers. So like if it's the first, second, third, fourth, blah, blah, blah. The stitches done would go in here. What whip you worked on would go here. You have a couple spaces for if you have your schedule for work, or you have appointments or different things, or if you just want to write something down about each day and use this more like a journal, you have space to do so. And then you have some task spots with so like more of a checklist. And then again, would repeat. This repeats for more than a year's worth of weeks, just because it was uneven to put 52 weeks. So I think there's maybe 53 or 54, something like that. There's a couple more weeks than there is year. So you have lots of space here to use each one and continue them every week. And then at the end, there's just a grid similar to the dot journal for doodles and notes. Then we have our work in progress section. In this one, we have another doodle page. There's lots of doodle pages in here for you to use as you see. This one here, there will be a full tutorial, because this is a brand new concept. There will be a full tutorial on how to work through these, but just at a quick glance, you're going to be able to track giant projects, big projects, little projects, and tiny projects. So giant projects to me are those things that take more than a year. Big projects are things that will take half a year, 3 months, fairly big projects, but not outrageously large projects. Little projects are things that will take you, I'd say 3 months or less. And then the tiny ones are those quickies that are done in a week or two, or a month if you only stitch every few days. So this gives you lots of room. So each of these squares, there is a page back here that will correspond with it. So if you make your giant whip, for me, I would put my stained one there is a tracker in here to help you set goals and make progress on all of the things. And then just name them the same as you would on the pages in the back. So like I said, there will be a much more in-depth version of how to use this. That's what this scan is for. There will be a FLOSSTUBE specifically for these pages, but I'm just going to give you a quick overview as we go through the planner. So the giant one, so you're just going to have, and they're all structured the same. The only difference is how many goals you can set. So you'll have your start date, end date. You can either put when you officially actual finish or what you would like your goal end date to be. Kit number, if you track that with project bags, you can put it's in the Winnie the Pooh project bag, or it's kit number, blah, like whatever way you want to track your kits, that's what that's for. The number of stitches in the whole project, the size, the fabric size, your floss list would go here. Things you need to do. This is like when you're actually kitting it up. You can put a picture of the mock-up here. Your current progress, if this is because this book is new and you probably obviously have things on the go, you would put where you're at right now and when you would like to finish it. Up here is where you would just put the name of the project, which will match these squares here. So your goal, you would put in your goal number 1, and these goals are set up for the giant ones is in like 4-month blocks. So you would just put what you would like to do every month. You'll have your month, what your goal is, how many stitches you did do, your plus or minus to the goal. So if my goal is 10,000 stitches in 4 months and I did 5,000 in this month and that was my goal, it's 0. But if I only did 4,000 but my goal was 5, then I'm negative to my goal. So I need to do an extra 1,000 in one of these 3 months to make it at the end. And then this is just a spot for, like, I know I print out pictures with, I have this little printer, sticker printer, and I put them start and finish so I can see just how much progress I've made in this little section. So here you would just put I stitched 10,000 into this and I'm 20% complete or whatever the percentage is. And then there is 2 full pages of goals. So it is in 4-month blocks. So you've got 4, 8, 12, 16. So this like lasts over 2 years. Like I said, these are for those very, very big projects. And then this is just reflection once you're completed it and how you felt the project. If, you'd like to do something like that again or something, use this as you like in terms of what you feel you want to do when a project finishes. So you have a couple of those for the giant ones, because I know some people do keep more than one giant thing going. And then oh no, that's still giant. Trying to look through my phone and talk here. So the big ones are ones that are going to be about a year, 6 months to a year. You have a set for 3 different goals, so 4, 8, and 12 months. And then you'll get a bunch of those. And then we go into the littles, which is just one goal with like up to 4 months. So anything under that. And then you go to the tiny ones, which are just little half pages, because it is literally, I want to do it here, I want to finish it here. So like our cryptid each month, obviously he's only, if you sit down a couple days, a week worth of stitching, that's what these tinies could be for. And then another page at the back for doodling again. Now we get into organizing your stash. So we have our needle and strand guide that we've had in past books. We have a spot for important links that you have. Some of my links are there, but there's lots of room for more. Your fabric stash. So this is a spot to put all those places you really love buying your fabric. And then there is the fabric calculator. The link is here if you just want to use the online calculator. Super easy to use. But if you want to do the geeky math part, if you write in pencil, you can reuse it, or you can just follow along with the numbers you want to calculate. I do plan to do a floss tube on this at some point too, and how to calculate fabric without just using the calculator, so that you understand what you need a little easier. So if you understand how the math works, it's easier to look at a project when you're looking on Etsy on a pattern, to have a vague idea of what size fabric you need for it. So this is just for your fabric inventory. So you would have the name of it, the type it is, the size it is, the count, your brand if you care about that, the colors, notes, and then if you want to buy it again. So this is kind of a spot where you can go, I really loved this fabric, I loved working with it, I'd like to buy it again. So you can have little stars there to track if you want to buy it again. So there is lots of pages of that. And then we have the floss one, same thing, places to buy. We have the cheat sheet of the ones that I know of that have been replaced, of some discontinued, and space for you to add more, just in case other ones end up in that list in between. And then you have all of the DMC floss with a spot for how many full skeins you have, how many partials, and if you need to buy it. These are great to do in pencil too, so that you, again, can change it as you use it. So it has all of the regular DMC, it has the light effects, it has the variegated, it has the color variation and the Claris, and then it has the etoiles and the satins, and then other flosses for all those other kinds of floss that you will grab. So if you have anchor stuff, if you have Weeks dye, if you have any other hand dyes, you can put them in there. Then we have a gadget, again, stores, websites. These places are great for needle minders. These places I really like for project bags. Actually, no, we're not going to say we're going to say needle gadgets. I'm going off on a little bit. You'll see in here, but great shops for different gadgets. Actually, no, it will count because they're all in the gadgets. So the project bags, grime guards, sorry, I forgot. This is for all of them. So you have your needle minder collection that you can track. So you can track the needle minder just in terms of like what, give it a little bit of a name or a description. So you have an idea of what themes of minders you already have. Grime guards, again, theme and the size of them. So if they're for a 10-inch hoop, or if they're for one of the Q snaps, things like that, and the theme can just be, this one is a Winnie the Pooh themed one. And then we have the project bag, same thing, the theme, the size, and if it's empty or if it contains a whip, you can put in there. Your hoops, your snaps, your stands, again, you can put the type, the size, and if it's containing something. Like excuse my disaster, but I have my stand here, I have one in the closet, I have 3 project bags, all with stuff on them, and this would tell me where they are located if I want to work on them. Your pattern collection, you would just put the name, the designer, and the location of the pattern. So if it is a piece of paper and it's in a binder, you can put that, or if it's digitally, you can say it's in this folder on my computer. So that's kind of a way to keep your stash somewhat organized. And then the finished things, so you can track finishing projects and finishing the finished projects. So this is another little X thing to color in every time you have a finish. And then you have lots of these, so you just will track the whip. So once they're finished from your whips progress section, you can go over here and then just make note, again, just to celebrate the win, when you started it, when you finished it, what the full count was, and then a picture of your actual finish. If you have the little printers, you can do that. And then I just have some checkoffs here to say if you sign and date it. If you do that, take a picture of it, share your finish, unmount it, clean it, unkit the supplies, do a little happy dance, of course, and pick your next whip. And then in here is the finish. So this is where you will plan what you're going to do with that finish. So I know I have a stack of finishes that have nothing done to them. This is where I would say, okay, this one I really want to put in a frame that looks like this, or I want to make this one into a pillow, or this is a gift that is going to be on the card. Whatever you plan to do with it, you would track that here. So there's lots of these. So the number of squares here are the number here. So you can keep track of all those finishes throughout. And then we have the stitch along and challenge section. So this will work really well for either my stitch alongs or other stitch alongs, as well as the challenges. Like we have our Stitcho every month. I know with my Stitchies, we have a Stitchpiration. So a stitching inspiration, I guess, each month that has a different challenge to it that can be tracked in here as well. So you have a number of the stitch along ones. So you would have put in the name, the designer, the start and end date, the project size, what fabric color you want or that is recommended, the count of fabric, and the schedule. So if it's weekly releases for 10 weeks, your floss list you can put in here, notes, and then this you can just track. So if I know that the releases are every Monday for 8 weeks, I would write down every Monday's date with a little checkbox beside it to make sure I grab the email or I find. So like our cryptids, I know that there's once a month and there's 4 bonuses, so I would literally write January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, December, and then I'd put bonus 1, 2, and 3, and 4. So I knew to track all of them in here. So you can do that for a number. So we have lots of room for lots of stitch alongs, mine and others. And then the challenges, same thing. So there's 2 per page. So you would have the challenge name, the designer, the start date, and what the focus of the challenge is. And then these are just tasks. So, you know, if our focus is the Stitch-O board, and these are the tasks that you want to finish. Like, I know there's not enough for all the Stitch-O board, but that's going to be a page itself that you can track on. But you could put, I want to finish 1 line of the Stitch-O board. I want to meet the other goal. I need to enter my points at the end of the month. I need to see who won. I need to find the email with it, things like that you can put in here, and then a spot for notes. Again, repeat for all the challenges. There's more than enough for one at least a month. And then our last section is the Get Crafty section. So this can be used for anything you like. If you want to sew, if you quilt, if you diamond paint, anything like that. There is just little trackers for the project, the due date, the start and end date, your doodles, supplies, tasks, and a doodle spot. So you could also use this for your finishes. So you can make notes in the finish section, but then take it here if it's a more complex project. So maybe you're doing 4 of your finishes, you're turning into a quilt or something. This can be used to map that idea out. Or if for us, like I know our Stitchies, we have a round robin that's going to start, and we do a smalls exchange in July. This can be, I'm going to track my small exchange and what I'm going to do for it. Or if you have retreats you go to, same thing. If there's an exchange at the retreat, this can be your way, or a table gift, and you want to track those things. There's a bunch of those pages in the back here. And then we have another pocket in the back. This is the elastic bookmarks / close it and keep it together. I'm working with one hand, but that is essentially a bookmark. And because this year's is not quite as thick, that won't stretch it so much. I'm trying to grab this year so you can see the difference in, I've got a disaster of a room here. I've been organizing my craft room the last while. So if you see, this is 2026 and this is the new one. So if you look, it is much thinner on this end. So it will make it less uneven when it's closed up and in its box. So that is the new version of the planner. I am always available to ask questions about it and all the things. I will love to hear feedback as people start to use this. They should land here by at the latest the end of October, and they will ship out. I'm looking at and hopefully going to get them into the US directly instead of coming to me and then there for my US purchases. So they will make it a little bit quicker to come from within instead of up here. And then obviously we'll get the rest of them out. As soon as they land at my door, I usually have the labels ready to go for those that have pre-ordered, and we go straight down that pre-order list and get them out as quickly as I can from when they land. So like I said, it should hopefully be the end of October, and then you can get started with these for 2027. Everybody who pre-orders before, I think I said September 30th, will get the challenge booklet included. So the challenge this year, in past years it was included in, so you'd have the month with the pattern, and then you'd have your challenge, and then you'd have your month in past books. But this year what I've done is the patterns, the challenge, so the Stitch-O board and all of that is going to be in its own little booklet. So it'll be like just kind of like a magazine style stapled together booklet, and it's going to be a tiny bit smaller than the planner, so you can keep it not necessarily in a pocket because it'll be too thick, but you can keep it like just inside the cover or in the box if you keep your planner in the box. Everybody who pre-orders will get that booklet included for free. It is, the retail on that is going to be $17 US, and that is going to go up for sale for those that maybe don't use planners but would really like a booklet of our challenges each month. There will be an option to purchase that as well. The planner patterns is what they've been in the past. So the Stitch Me patterns, which last year was the circus ones, previous years was the Under the Sea, things like that. Those patterns are what is going to be inside the challenge booklet, with this year's theme being an Alice in Wonderland theme. The Stitch Me patterns, which are in the challenge book, are going to be our wonderful teacup set. And then our stitch along will match with being You're Entirely Bonkers is the name of it. It is going to be the characters. That one is going to still continue to come by email each month. That one is not going to be one that's going to be pre-printed in advance. That's going to kind of got that surprise element where you see it once a month. And then our Stitch It bundles, which are those tiny little embellishments and motif things that kind of match, will be also wonderful things. So it will be other things included that will match the theme of Alice in Wonderland. So everybody who pre-orders will get the challenge booklet included at no cost. Everybody who purchases the planner in any of its forms, we will have a digital and printable version still, will get included in, we'll get the PDFs of, sorry, will not get the PDFs of the patterns unless you get the challenge booklet, sorry. Because we've changed it. In previous years, when you purchased the planner, you would get the PDFs of the patterns from the planner, but because the patterns are in the challenge booklet, if you purchase the challenge booklet or get it included with your planner, you will end up with the PDFs of the patterns. For my Stitchies and Stitchy Lights, and the new Stitch Buddies on Patreon, because you already are included in getting all of the things, you will get the Stitch It bundles. So you will also, and you also get a digital version of the planner, and you will get the layout that will match this as well. So we will have a layout that will include all three. You will get that nearing the beginning of 2027 for the challenge. I'll have more nitty-gritty details on those things as we get closer, with a few more sneak peeks on the patterns. But this is, I just wanted to walk through the planner itself. So if you haven't pre-ordered, if you check out the link of this video or in any of the groups or emails, I've got lots of links on how to pre-order it. The price has not increased from previous years. The shipping has not increased. I hope nothing changes, but I've tried to keep everything as cost effective as I could, even with the changes and the additions of more goodies inside. So like I said, you get the highlighters, you get the pen, you get the pen clip, you get the extra 4 pages of stickers this year. So you're getting more extra goodies this year, and you're getting lots of goodness inside the planner itself. So if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. I hope you guys will enjoy this as much as I do, and we will talk more about it as we go, and once they land, you will know. Have a great day and go spend some time cross-stitching.